Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV, and it is my birthday today. And in honor of it being my birthday, I decided, hey, I think we should start a new TV show. And we are watching You. We are going to be watching the entire series, throughout the summer. I don't know if I'm going to get it over with by the end of this, or finish it by the summer. It's not getting over with it. I'm super enthusiastic about watching this show. But yeah, already as I'm watching this show, You is shaping up to be the modern day version of American Psycho, which includes social media. So it's going to be an interesting twist on a film like that, on a concept like that. I don't know if the creators did this intentionally, but hey, it's really good. I obviously love American Psycho. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. So this couldn't be higher praise for watching a pilot. So, yeah, apparently bookstores have soundproof glass chambers, which will be important later. This will be super significant. That's really weird. I guess I haven't really worked in a damn library before, though, so what do I know? The show is very hard to Google as well. It's literally just called You, so I thought that was funny to note. It was co-created by Greg Berlanti and Sarah Gamble, I think. It's an adaptation of Caroline Kepnes's novel, which that'd be cool to read one day. I'm not really that big of a reader, but hey, I'm always open to a book. I used to read all the time in high school. It's a very absurd start to a show, full of dull voiceovers, which instantly reminds me of Dexter, which was a big time show that we watched on the channel not too long ago, like last year, and that was a great show. Again, a little bit of Dexter, a little bit of American Psycho. I think this is shaping up, on paper to be a really fun experience, a really fun movie full of twists and turns. I heard so many people talking about this show, so I had to check it out. Penn Badgley, who plays Joe Goldberg, this is his breakout role, so that's pretty cool to know. He has an obsession of a girl who has terrible friends, making her seem shallow when really that's the way she has to act to appease society. And it has a really interesting storyline. Again, I'm really liking how this is really shaping up. It's quite crazy the lengths he goes to, even in the pilot. And I'm excited to see, the full extent of what this man is going to do to try to win Beck over. Because, they kind of have a connection in this first episode already. But, down the line, it's going to be really cool to see what happens. Yeah, but, let's get into it. So Penn Badgley's character Joe works in a bookstore, of course, which is where he first eyes our heroine victim, whose name is Guinevere Beck, one of the most peculiar names I have ever heard on this show. But Joe appraises the Madewell-toting basic, and upon learning her taste in books is up to snuff, so is the same as his. He's very egotistical, we learn that early on. He approves of her and her book selection, the unsubtly titled Desperate Characters. I'm not sure how Joe plans to keep a bookstore in business by barely hiding his disdain for people who enjoy a Dan Brown novel. But yeah, Joe bonds with Mrs. Guinevere here because they share a hatred for, as he puts it, the lowly people who buy books because of what's popular, not because they want to be moved or changed in some way. So they have some sort of like personal connection right off the bat there. This line is so on the nose for Joe's taste in women that I have to believe there's a twist coming, Maybe she is running the scam on him. Maybe she is the one, so yeah, it's going to be really interesting moving forward. So Ethan, Joe's cookbook-loving coworker, encourages Joe to Google the daylights out of everybody calls me Beck because she flirted with him, even though she did not write down his number, ask him to meet with her sometime, or give any other straightforward indication that she wanted to be found. I mean, Joe kind of puts it in his head. Again, he's super egotistical. We learn very early on in the pilot, and that's really what I'm taking from this guy. It's always these like super introverted characters in TV shows that always have these ego problems, and that's why they can't really talk to people because they don't exactly fit their agenda or whatever. Yeah, Joe is so starved for affection that he interprets the smallest non-gestures as blatant overtures, like Beck using a credit card and not cash because you want me to know your name, or Beck not wearing a bra because you wanted me to notice. I mean, maybe women just simply don't like wearing bras all the time. I don't know. I'm a man, so I can't really speak on that, but yeah. We learned via voiceover that Joe was in love once. She broke my heart, Beck. She really did a number on me. So I'm super confused. This show has me really confused up to this point because is this whole show just a flashback? And Joe's describing a side of the story to Beck? I mean, for all we know, she could be dead by now. I mean, we know his tendencies. After watching this episode, I'm really thinking about this. It's like, holy shit, maybe she is dead. And he's just talking back about it. So, upon the stairs outside Joe's apartment, we meet the unlikeliest little boy who ever did live. A noble young soul who passes the hours while his mom and his mom's boyfriend scream at each other, not by playing Fortnite or eating Cheerios while watching YouTube videos, but by reading novels from the 19th century, procured for him by Joe. You know, Joe has the connections with the bookstore, he wants to teach this kid some things, yada yada yada. This is to say the least implausible, but in Joe's world there are two kinds of people. Good people, who only read obscure contemporary fiction and or highbrow classic literature, and bad people who read gross mainstream paperbacks and or do not read at all. Joe needs us to know this kid is good people. Ergo, a leather-bound The Three Musketeers. He's quite the sophisticated young buck. In our apparently necessary save the cat moment, Joe offers the stairwell urchin a meatball sub and another book as soon as he knocks out The Three Musketeers. So, give him another one, I guess. Will it surprise you to learn that Joe has a record player, a fridge with nothing in it but mayonnaise and peanut butter, and a massive apartment? He settles in for a cozy night of splunking into Beck's internet presence, obviously just being an extreme stalker. Your social media is a liar, Joe reports. It says you're a happy-go-lucky dilettante. But underneath it all, you seem like the genuine article. You seem like a genuine human being that actually has feelings and emotions and a personality. Joe very quickly learns Beck's home address, researching her and basically fucking doxing her. If this show is nothing but an elaborately conceived PSA for all women to be protective over yourselves, please do it. Beck lives on the ground floor of a building with giant windows and no curtains, like, okay? Alright, Joe hates all of Beck's friends who are wealthy and therefore bad. Again, you have to fit with his agenda. If you're wealthy, you're not a good person. They probably do not even like the specific books that Joe insists women like in order to be sexually appealing to him personally. I mean, how dare they? Unlike her friends, including Shay Mitchell's character, whose name is Peach, Beck is broke and therefore good. Oh, she's broke. She can be a genuine person. I mean, rich people don't have emotions, so, like, yeah. She cannot gallivant with her crew, for she must write. So she goes home and flops theatrically on her bed, then opens her laptop for a split second before, here we go, here comes her douchey boyfriend Benji. Flannel tied at the waist, carefully groomed scruff, and an artisanal soda company he's trying to get off the ground. Also, he shows up in a taxi and not an Uber. His name is, Benjamin J. Ashby III. Remember, rich equals bad. So we know how Joe feels about this fella. We learn via some speedy, sloppy plot exposition through the dialogue that this non-boyfriend cheats on Beck, but then he kisses her neck, so she has sex with him. Sure, I guess that's how that's supposed to work. I mean, she really goes along with that. I mean, and how are you going to have sex in a house, in an apartment with giant-ass windows with the lights on? I don't understand that. It is very questionable. I'm not sure why Benji needs to be so comically horrid. Why did these show creators have to make him such a hateable person? I guess so we are somewhat sympathetic to the psycho that is Joe, and trying to, actually somehow justify him for what he's doing? When Benji leaves, Beck masturbates. Again, in front of the window? With a pillow. Okay. Anyway. I'm done questioning her. Joe makes like Harvey Weinstein and jerks off into a plant, which is ridiculous. Really, he masturbates in the bushes across the street from her apartment, literally in front of other people's apartments. And yeah, so that happens. Joe returns home to find the stairwell ragamuffin, exiled from his home like a freshman who found a sock on the dorm room door. So off they go to Mr. Mooney's bookstore, down to his enormous basement where we find this glass box called The Cage, where early editions and collectibles are stored. You gotta keep these books in mint condition, and Joe has this whole big-ass lecture to tell this kid about keeping books in mint condition, even though this kid does not give a shit. He wants to fucking read the books. The cage is roughly the same temperature as the average office, I guess, and it's hidden from the world because sunshine will murder your books, apparently. All your libraries should be underground, I guess. Keep note of that if you ever want to open a damn library. The most valuable things in life are usually the most helpless, John says. Time to read Don Quixote, from which Joe definitely got all the right ideas from. Naturally, because Ron is a bad dude, He's angry at Joe for introducing his girlfriend's child to books, apparently the devil's entertainment. Where does Joe get off putting words and ideas into this de facto orphan's head? He should never learn. He should never pick up new information. Then again, Ron knows that Joe is a freak. Hey, even a broken clock. Yeah, he's a freak. He's creepy, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's true, but not in this context. Joe breaks into Beck's apartment by calling in a gas leak that wasn't there and goes through all her stuff while she meets with the professor she's TAing for. I mean, really, again, the extents that this guy goes to in this episode to, like, learn more about this girl and be a creep. The professor wants to fuck her, I guess, as Joe observes, not incorrectly. You gotta love a good cliche. Her professor chides for being way behind on work, chides her, and Beck is too stressed, busy, etc. to get it done by deadline. Oh, she's too busy going out with her degenerate friends and drinking her life away, I guess. He suggests she move to part-time, but if she does, she'll lose her housing. It's kind of like a housing deal she has. She says, like the most desperate character, good one, eh? I can't go to part-time. The only way they can discuss this is over a drink. It's a date. Can't imagine how that could go sideways. A guy that wants to bang you, that's your professor you're TAing for. So, Beck returns home while Joe is still rummaging through her things, and he's like, fuck, There's no place cheaper to live. He's sitting in the shower, she turns the water on, he's getting soaked as she's wailing to her mom on the phone. She paces helplessly around her absolutely massive apartment in the village. Oh, she's got to live up to the persona. She's got to be like her friends, I guess. But here we get the most realistic moment of the premiere. Beck FaceTimes her friends, begs them through tears to come to Greenpoint, and Peach replies, why don't you come here? They don't give a fuck about you or your desires or your passions. So stop asking. Beck succeeds in dragging her girls to a bar where they serve pickleback shots. She toasts to vulnerability and shit before doing a sloshed reading of her poem at an open mic. The room is wildly indifferent. A man asks her why she is so sad. It is so painful that even Joe cannot bear to watch it. And sorry for talking so much. Sorry this video is so long. This is the damn pilot, for crying out loud. I'll talk for as long as I want. And if we need to make each review 20 minutes and you don't want to stick around, please leave. I don't care. And it is here, don't let your extremely drunk friends subway home alone. That's a great lesson, isn't it? We learn a lot here. Beck, dramatically wasted and fumbling with her phone. Again, books equal good, tech equals bad. Trips and falls into the subway tracks. She nearly dies trying to save her phone, which is an amazing, amazing metaphor. Let that symbolism hit you like a speeding subway train. I mean, wow, that was just great by the show creator to kind of build up that image there. Beck is saved by Joe. She promptly vomits on his face, which is kind of a funny little trope that you see in like romantic movies. I just puked on the guy I liked. I thought that was another little funny detail that the creators put there. So as she chugs water, but did they bring mints or gum or anything? Beck eyes Joe. I don't want to sound like a stalker, but I think I know you. Oh, she's the stalker, eh? Joe confirms with the forced ease of someone who has practiced this conversation 10,000 times in his mind. They make, he's the guy from the bookstore, and they make sexy eyes at each other while talking about how they are too smart for life to be bearable. The chosen conversation topic of sad narcissists everywhere. Benji kills the mood, knocking on the window, obviously that plot inconvenience. But not before Joe can steal Beck's phone and tell us about a girl he loved and followed out of New York. I mean, is she not in a ditch right now? Is this, again, not a flashback? One more time for the stairwell stray, because Ron came home drunk, and as your abusive alcoholic boyfriends are I guess, inevitably to do, took out his rage on a book? What did the book do to you, man? Nothing offends Ron like classic literature. Tried to stop him, wails this guy, this kid. It's followed by a borderline pornographic sequence about how to repair a book. I mean, yeah, the way Joe's breaks this down, he's a fucking creep. I mean, he really is. Meanwhile, Joe catfishes Benji by pretending to be the culture guy from New York Magazine. This is insane. I mean, this is so flattering to see a guy do this. Wow. I mean, this really escalates things. This really turns the pilot into, like, not just a regular show anymore. Benji is stoked, brah. He narrates his reply. Yeah, our sodas are legit, period. I would love to have you meet up to try the goods, period. I love that Benji literally walks into a death trap because he is too insecure to admit he has no idea where they are. For this act of insufferable hipsterdom, Benji gets a mallet to the head. Literally, yeah, he gets killed, damn near. So, as Benji sleeps, bleeds it off in the cage, Beck swings by the bookstore to officially kick off her courtship with Joe. For plot device reasons, no one ever goes to the basement except for Joe, so it's totally cool that Benji is locked in a dungeon down there with nothing to pass the time but books. He is too awful to want to read. So yeah, there you have it. This show is shaping up to be really good. Again, I'm super sorry that this was such a long fucking video, but man, I'm super prideful about my TV shows and about discussing them. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am out, guys. We are going to be reviewing plenty of episodes in the future. Of course, we are going to watch the entire series. This is the new TV show now. Really appreciate you guys for coming on the journey with me on The Sopranos. It is time for you guys to watch You with me. So, I don't know why I keep clapping. I'm out, guys. Have a good rest of your day.